The diplomatic pleasantries taking place in Geneva right now are nothing more than theater for the naive. While the cameras focus on the polite handshakes of diplomats, the real message being delivered from the United States to the Iranian regime is terrifyingly simple. Capitulate on your nuclear program immediately or face the total destruction of your economic and military infrastructure. We are not witnessing a peace summit. We are witnessing an ultimatum. And based on the intelligence coming out of Geneva, the window for diplomacy has already slammed shut. Let us strip away the moral posturing and look at the cold, hard reality of what is happening in Switzerland. The mainstream media is reporting that President Trump will be involved, quote, indirectly in these talks. In the lexicon of realpolitik, indirect involvement is a power move. It allows the president to maintain plausible deniability if the talks collapse, while exerting maximum pressure without even being in the room. It signals to Tehran that they are not worthy of a direct audience with the American leader until they meet the preconditions of surrender. The reports indicate that Iran has come to the table pitching, quote, new ideas. They are likely offering to freeze enrichment at current levels or allow inspectors back into certain sites. But this is a strategic miscalculation by the Ayatollah. They are bringing 2015 solutions to a 2026 problem. The United States is no longer interested in freezing the program. The objective has shifted to dismantling the program. Why? Because power dynamics have shifted. The Iranian economy is gasping for air, and the recent alignment between Washington and key Arab states has left Tehran isolated. But to truly understand why this final warning is credible, you have to look at the map. I want you to visualize the geography of the Persian Gulf for a moment. If you look at the southern coast of Iran, you see the Strait of Hormuz. It is a narrow choke point, barely 21 miles wide at its narrowest navigable point. For decades, Iran used this geography as a weapon, threatening to close the strait and cut off the world's oil supply. It was their insurance policy. But geography is a double-edged sword. If you look at the naval positioning today, the United States has effectively turned that insurance policy into a prison cell. By positioning carrier strike groups in the North Arabian Sea and the Persian Gulf, the U.S. Navy hasn't just secured the waterway. They have established a blockade capability that can starve the Iranian regime of its only lifeline, oil revenue. The geography that Iran thought protected them is now the very mechanism of their suffocation. If the talks in Geneva fail, the U.S. does not need to invade Tehran. They simply need to close the gate at Hormuz and watch the Iranian economy implode from within. Now, let us look at the hypocrisy on display here, because it is breathtaking. Publicly, the Iranian delegation is talking about peaceful nuclear energy and sovereignty. They claim they have no intention of building a bomb. Yet the intelligence reports referenced in our source material suggest that Iran is closer to a breakout capability than ever before. They are enriching uranium to levels that have zero civilian application. You do not enrich to 60% or higher to power a light bulb. You do it to power a warhead. On the other side, the West speaks of diplomatic solutions and avoiding escalation. But look at the actions, not the words. While diplomats drink coffee in Geneva, the military assets are moving. The warnings are being issued. The indirect involvement of the president is not a sign of disinterest. It is a sign that the military option is already on the desk. The hypocrisy is that both sides know the talks are a sham. Iran is buying time to finish the bomb, and the U.S. is buying time to position the assets to stop them. So, why does this matter to the average American? Why should you care about a meeting in Switzerland or a strait in the Middle East? This is not about protecting democracy, and it is certainly not about human rights. This is about the survival of the American global order. The United States dollar is the world's reserve currency largely because oil is traded in dollars. This is the Petrodollar system. If Iran is allowed to develop a nuclear weapon, the balance of power in the Middle East shatters. Saudi Arabia, the guarantor of the petrodollar, would be forced to seek its own nuclear deterrent, or worse, pivot towards a security alliance with China.
If the U.S. cannot guarantee the security of the Persian Gulf, the Arabs have no reason to sell oil in dollars. If the petrodollar dies, the demand for the U.S. dollar evaporates. The inflation you are seeing now would look like a paradise compared to the hyperinflation that would follow. The cost of your mortgage, your groceries, and your gas is directly tied to the outcome of these talks in Geneva. The president understands this. The final warning to Iran is not just about stopping a bomb. It is about preserving the economic hegemony of the Western world. The strategy here is what we call escalation dominance. The United States is betting that Iran values its regime's survival more than its nuclear pride. By threatening destruction, the U.S. is forcing the Ayatollah to make a binary choice, the bomb or the throne. You cannot have both. This brings us to the most dangerous part of the analysis, the risk of miscalculation. History is filled with wars that started because one side thought the other was bluffing. Iran might believe that the U.S. is too distracted by domestic politics or the Russia-Ukraine situation to actually strike. They might think this final warning is just rhetoric, and if they make that bet, and they are wrong, we are looking at a kinetic event that will reshape the Middle East overnight. The Geneva talks are failing because the gap between the two sides is unbridgeable. Iran wants sanctions relief before they dismantle the program. The U.S. wants the program dismantled before they offer a single dollar of relief. There is no middle ground here, and when diplomacy runs out of road, the only thing left is force. We are standing on the precipice of a major conflict. The aircraft carriers are not for a photo opportunity. The president's warning is not a campaign slogan. It is a statement of intent. The world is holding its breath, and frankly, it should be. Before we sign off, let's test your knowledge on the region's volatility. Here's a quick question for you. The Strait of Hormuz is the world's most important oil choke point. Approximately what percentage of the world's total oil consumption passes through this strait daily? A. 5%, B. 10%, C. 20%, D. 50%. Leave your answer in the comments below. I will be checking to see who understands the true scale of the energy risk we are facing. In geopolitics, there are no permanent friends and no permanent enemies, only permanent interests. And right now, the American interest is demanding a resolution, one way or another. Thank you for listening.